Hello, everyone. Welcome to Faculty Spotlights for the College of Professional Psychology at the Chicago School. I'm Lance Garrison. I'm Dean of the college, and today we are joined by Dr. Wendy Baker, Assistant Professor of Clinical Psychology for our PsyD Clinical Psychology program in Chicago. Welcome, Dr. Baker.
Hi, good morning, Lance. And a hearty Chicago welcome to you, and thank you for your time today.
Absolutely. So, Dr. Baker, could you just share a little bit about your background and how you came to be a faculty member for the Chicago School?
Yes. So my background, my path's a little non-traditional. I'm a former Chicago police officer,
Oh,
and I was an ISPP student, and coincidentally, the department chair here was my chair there. And so when I became interested in adjunct teaching, it was a natural choice to follow Dr. Slovic, which opened up the door to me for the Chicago School. I loved it so much, I wouldn't let them get rid of me.
well, we're so happy to have you, of course. Um, so, being a faculty member, maybe tell us a little bit about what areas of teaching, research, or practice you're most passionate about right now.
It's a great question, Lance. For me, my passion lies with the students.
Mhm.
They're my reason for being here. And as far as what I'm teaching, I'm a huge fan on both the academic world and my clinical world of assessment. So
Okay.
assessment would be ranked really high. Of course, that's combined with like ethics. Also, I have the honor of being a dissertation chair for several students, and I love that. Then if we combine psychopharmacology, I teach that at times forensic electives,
Mhm.
diversity, and then basic practicum seminars. So it's all kind of all everything
Yeah,
I does kind of interweaves with each other.
really wide array of specialty interests there.
Mhm.
Is there a particular area of assessment that you like the most?
I I believe I like them all because they build upon each other.
Yeah.
So for me, intellectual is a good way to meet the students, like when they're first starting out their PsyD journey,
Mhm.
and give them the foundations of the why and what that does. And then personality just kind of adds a twist to it because it allows us to see the person in another dimension. And then
Yeah.
we follow up with integrative. So we begin to like weave it together. So I do love them all.
Yeah, so you touched on this a little bit, but I'm curious, how do you see the work you do as a faculty member or even as a clinician impacting students and the community?
That's another great question. For me, I think a lot of it has to do with how I show up in different spaces. And I'm pretty transparent most of the time, well, all of the time. And being a lifelong learner, and that
Yeah,
commitment, I think models that yes, you can be in grad school. Yes, it may be 5 years, but it doesn't stop there. There's so much more to what we do and what we're called to do. So I take it very serious, like how I show up in spaces. I try to model, and I make myself accessible. And by that is I check in with all the students. I leave my door open to where it is a teaching program and we're a community building for each other. So it's way more than just the 5 years that we do in grad school, from my
yeah,
view.
I love it's one of those things that's become cliche to say, well, I'm a lifelong learner, but there's a reason that's so critical. And I've always believed, because I consider myself a lifelong learner as well, and I think we all are, whether we acknowledge it or not. But
Mhm.
that drive to continue to acquire new knowledge, new skills, to expand the base that that you can draw from to make an impact on patients or clients or students is so critical because I've always believed you're growing, you're stagnant, or you're receding. And I don't want to ever feel stagnant or like I'm in a place of recession on a personal or professional level.
I like that. I like those three words you use. I agree because the world is going to world, right? It's still going to continue to change and grow. And as people participating in it, it's kind of good if we understand that and grow with it. So I agree with you 100%. And I may borrow those words from you if that's okay.
Oh yeah, no, please do. So I know you talked a little bit earlier about Dr. Slobig, and she was kind of an inspiration for you coming into the Chicago school. What is it now that you've been here? What is it that you think makes that program there in clinical psychology in Chicago especially valuable to students or unique in some way?
Well, for me, starting my PsyD journey at a school that closed and having to like relocate at another school, I've
Hmm.
had the unique experience of seeing the different levels of student support in different universities. And I can say that at the Chicago school, the level of support they offer the students was mind blowing to me as like a fellow student on the outside when I would be with other practicum students. And I'm like, what? You get what? And then I couldn't believe it. Um, and so once I became a member of the Chicago School, I call it a community.
Yeah.
Even as an adjunct, I began to like embed myself in the TCS approach. So the fact that there's an approach that's actually listed and used and employed was tremendous to me. So much that I put it in like different quizzes in my classes, like what's our approach? How do we do things? And
Hmm.
so education, I mean, we check the box on that, right? There's tons of different programs. We're here. There's continuing education all the time, even for faculty.
Yeah,
So not only does TCS support the students, they support the faculty growth and development, which is huge. Um,
absolutely.
and it is a community. Like just the opportunity to sit down with you, the dean, shows me that we have a real community and that you know who we are. That means a lot. Like in part for me, is how I show up because I feel like I'm a part of something, not just a cog in a wheel.
Yeah.
Um, Also the innovation, like all the different changes, all our technology. And then for me, I can speak to like the impact that it has. When I get up to go to work, I want to. I'm not dreading it. I have had a career before to where sometimes I just did not want to go. But here, no two days are ever the same. No two classes are ever the same. And I have so many people that I can reach out to support both myself and the students. Hope that wasn't too long, but I'm
No,
very
not at
passionate
all.
about being here.
Not at all. I think you touched on a number of really important things. You know, a lot of times companies or organizations or universities, they have words that kind of describe their philosophy, but it's not, there's a disconnect between that kind of expressed philosophy and then the lived experience within the organization or the
Mhm.
university. And I know I've been at the Chicago School just a little over 8 years now, and it's one of the things that's kept me here and kept me excited about getting up in the morning to do what I do is that I don't feel like there's that gap with us, right? We really do try to live our philosophy. We really do try to live a very student focused, very practitioner scholar approach within our programs. And I think that the clinical psychology program there in Chicago is really the foundation of it all for the Chicago School because it was our very first and only program in 1979. So yeah, I love that. If you're thinking about, maybe take a moment and think about prospective students, students out there who are maybe they're in their undergraduate degree, maybe they're not a current student, maybe they're in another career, but they're thinking about pursuing a doctoral degree in clinical psychology. What kind of advice would you give them?
I would offer um, to be curious about it. If it's something that's on your mind and you're starting to research it, then open up to curiosity. If the program's not necessarily like in your state, then look at
Yeah,
like the different options. And something that I really try to employ with myself and then like share with everyone who listen to me is embrace that growth mindset. So when we grow, it could be a little uncomfortable. It may require
yeah,
some change. But just remember like your why. Like, what is your why? Why do you have this curiosity? I think also to like lean into the process, lean into the learning of it. And something I think is quintessential about our field, Lance, and correct me if I'm wrong and let me know your thoughts, is that we have to be adaptive, we have to be flexible
yeah.
with everything, even ourselves, and breathe. Just breathe.
That's something we often forget to do. I catch myself sometimes like, hey, hold on, just take a breath. Everything's going to be okay. Let's
Mhm.
let's center, focus, take a breath, and let's figure out how to sort this out. Yeah, I love that. I do think that um, one thought you shared there is so important. It's the idea about growth. We go back to the growth mindset, but part of growing is change, and to change and grow, you've got to stretch yourself, and there's some discomfort that comes along with that, right? It's
Mhm.
inevitable, but that is really kind of the beautiful part of it, because in the midst of that struggle that is inevitably going to come when you pursue a degree, particularly a doctoral degree in clinical psychology, that wonderful things are going to come out of that. Growth is going to come out of that. And I've always felt that there's no, and obviously I'm biased because I'm a clinical psychologist, but I can't think of any other graduate degree that changes a person more than getting a doctoral degree in clinical psychology. You really leave, in a lot of ways, a lot of fundamental ways, a different person than you were when you went into it. And it's all good, right? You see the
Yes.
world through different lenses, and it's really powerful.
Well stated. I agree. I thought I knew me because I came to this as a second career, and I learned so much about the world that I could have never learned in any other career, because no other career that I know of has that lens.
Yeah.
And I continue to learn. Like today, just talking to you, I've written down 6 words that, with your permission, I'm adding because it just makes so much sense to me, like the way you put it. And I would want to share that with others. So thank you. Like the growth mindset is quintessential to what we do as humans, and especially in this program.
Well, Dr. Baker, it's been a pleasure chatting with you today. I got to learn some things about you, and so happy that you are a member of the outstanding faculty we have there at the PsyD program in Chicago. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Lance, and thank you for being our dean, because I know it starts with you. So I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.